What's happening, everybody? How are we doing today? So, I just had an idea in my head. What if I read a creepypasta? But not just any, creepypasta you've heard, like Jeff the Killer, Small Dog, but a creepypasta that I came up with. So, if you don't like this sort of thing, I won't do it again. But if you want to see more, then I'll happily continue making more. But yeah. So this creepypasta takes place in sorry camera. This creepypasta takes place in America. I'm just joking. I don't know what this difference. Uh, you can just imagine where it takes place. So in my head, so the protagonist is called Jack. Jack is walking home from a busy day of school when he notices his mum's car is not in the driveway, and he sees the door is wide open. However, Jack approaches the door, find, enters the house, closes the door behind him, calls for his mum, no response. Calls for anyone in the house, no response. Jack finds strange the door is left wide open, unattended. He shrugs it off as like the wind or something. He walks up to his room, doing his homework, when he gets a message from his mother, telling him that she won't be back until very late at night, because she's got like some presentation or something at work. Jack then sees his opportunity to find some of his friends around to have a party. Not like a house party, maybe like one of two of his friends. So he rings up his mates, Daniel and Chris, to come round. Daniel and Chris accept the offer, they come round with some drinks. They start blasting music, having fun, until you hear a shuffle coming from downstairs. Jack just assumes that's like a raccoon or something in the basement. So he goes down to the basement. Chris follows him. Daniel stays in the bedroom because Daniel's a wee pussy like that. So they go down, head towards the basement, open the door gently, and then they find what seems to be a slunched over man, crying, sobbing. They approach the man slowly and gently. They hear Daniel trip upstairs and they look behind him, and they turn back around to the man, but the man is gone. They quickly rush upstairs in a panic, trying to explain to Daniel what just happened. Daniel doesn't believe it. Daniel thinks they're just trying to go down the basement. So Chris and Jack explain to Daniel what they saw. Daniel doesn't buy it though. So they all shrug it off. But Daniel shrugs it off because he thinks it's the joke. Chris shrugs it off because, he thinks his mind's just playing tricks on him. But Jack still isn't convinced that it was not his mind. He had been hearing noises in the basement for quite a while at this point. So Nanny, his friends, and them were watching some YouTube together, eating some junk food like friends do. And then Jack gets a text from his mum saying that she won't be home tonight because of some stuff that he'll work. Jack responds with, "He's gonna look after me." His mum replies, "You're old enough to look after yourself. I know I've always hired you babysitters, but I feel like you can be trusted to look after yourself this one time." Jack agrees. Knowing that his friends are around, he accepts it. He tells his friends this. They all cheer in excitement. Jack plans out what they want to do tonight. So we all talk about scary movies. Chris suggests watching a family-friendly movie as he doesn't like watching horror movies. Daniel explains that he needs to be home by a certain time. So Jack says goodbye to his friends. They all make their way towards the front door. Jack says the final goodbyes before heading back up to his bedroom. It is here where Jack tries to get some shut eye. Although it's 2 o'clock in the morning, he wakes up to hear a banging at his front door. Assuming he probably thinks it's his mum, and his mum got home early. He checks, so he goes down the door, checks the door, but no one's there. He debates with himself whether he should investigate the noise or not. Eventually, he builds the courage to walk outside. He grabs his flashlight, his shoes, and his keys, and walks outside the front door. He sees what seems to be a tiny droplet of blood on the pathway. It seems to lead somewhere. Jack, hesitant at first, but eventually follows the blood trail. So where he finds the deceased body of Daniel lying there in the driveway. As at this point, Jack starts panicking. So he rushes back inside his room, tries to call the police, but to no service on his phone. At this point, he tries calling Chris. Chris isn't picking up either, but Chris did leave a message saying that he got home. Daniel is dead. Jack doesn't know what to say to Chris about Daniel's death, nor does he know what to do with the body. He prays and prays that he tries to call 911 again. So they actually pick up this time. The operator tries getting them to explain what happened. Jack explains this. He finds his friend dead in his mom's driveway. The officer tries to calm him down by assuring his officers on the way before the phone just dies and the power goes out. So Jack has to go down to his basement and try and restart the breaker. So that's what he does. Hang on, actually, I think this would be better. Sorry for the big jump, but I think this would be better. Hang on. Sorry about that. But yeah, this is better. This sets the mood a bit more, isn't it? So, where was I? Oh yeah, Jack is walking down to his basement, where he sees the slunched over figure crying in the corner again. Although hesitant, he bolts back upstairs, doesn't know what to do. As then he hears sirens in the distance. His power randomly turns back on. He gets a notification he turns on his phone, he gets a notification from the police, informing that she has sent officers on the way to the scene. Although when the officers arrive there, Daniel's body is gone. So they question Jack and, tell him off for wasting police time. The blood that was on the driveway is gone too. The police bring Jack in for questioning, trying to give him a psychology test. He passes it and is let go. He returns home, where he informs his mother what has happened. His mother doesn't appreciate him for it. So then, Jack at this point doesn't know what to do. He's home alone for the night. His mum's working. His friend just got killed. He could have sworn his friend just got killed anyway. But the body's gone. He thinks that slunched over creature, whatever that was, took the body. There's this point where Daniel's mother texts Jack asking did Daniel come home that night. At this point, Jack starts to panic, thinking he didn't lose his mind after all. Jack texts back to Daniel's mother, saying, "No, I haven't, but I'll keep an eye on it." Jack doesn't want to tell Daniel's mother because she finds him crazy too. So he closes his phone and tries to get some shut eye. Little does he know, this is only the beginning. Jack wakes up 7 in the morning. His mom wakes him up. Then, get ready for school. Jack wakes up thinking it was all just hopefully a bad dream. Where he looks at his phone, but the text from Daniel's mother was still there. It was not a dream. Jack gets ready, grabs his things, and walks to school. It's at this point he gets into class, and the teacher is standing there saying, "Alright, class, we need to have a serious discussion and serious talk." There's 2 officers behind them. The teacher informs the class that these officers want to speak to Jack. Jack replies. The teacher walks the officers and Jack to the office where they can talk in private. Jack explains that what he saw last night is true. Then, mind you, these were the same officers that appeared at the scene that night. The officers explain to Jack that Daniel didn't come home to his home last night. So they start asking Jack a bunch of questions, like the basic questions: where did you last see him, or did you know him? Jack explains everything in detail. At this point, the officers are starting to get a bit suspicious of Jack, so they put him in cuffs and take him into police custody for questioning. At this point, Jack's mother is informed about this. Jack's mother heads down to the station immediately, where she finds her son was the killer. The police have evidence to prove this. 1. Daniel's body was not found because Jack was in fact the one that hit it. So, yeah. Dun dun dun. Jack was the killer all along. That's one of my creepypastas. So that was one of my creepypastas. Now I've got another one. Let's see. What was it again? I know my storytelling shit. I know I know it's horrible. But anyway, I'm gonna. So yeah, next creepypasta. You probably all know. You all know what the rake is. If you've been on the internet for a long time, you should know what the rake is. So let's get started. The rake is a creature. First picture appeared in 2005. The rake is a skinny, lanky creature that resembles human, but not quite human. It's very pale skin, crawls on all fours. The rake is said to sit on your corner of your bed at night, just staring you down. However, it will, if it feels like it, lash onto you, slash you to death. The rake is also said to cause bad luck to anyone who encounters it. So, this story begins. This family has just, mind you, I haven't read a few past the ages, so I might get a lot of things wrong here, but this is just memory, the stuff I remember. So, a family moves into this house into the forest area. Family decided to move because the dad, of course, got a promotion at work. Because he didn't. So, they all get in the house, unpack their things, the children head up to bed. The family hears shuffling in the woods. They think nothing of it, they think it's just animals. So, then they all go to bed. And then the family The family wakes up to see this pale, tall, lanky creature sitting on the end of their bed, just staring at them. And of course, the creature jolts out of bed and rushes towards the child's room. Of course, the parents panic. They jolt to the bedrooms. They've already found their child lying there, bleeding to death. She mutters one more thing before passing out. He's raped. Before the parents drag her daughter into the car and drive her to the hospital. However, the husband drove into a river that night and drowned. The girl succumbed to her injuries, and the mother was a widow. The mother, to forget all this, to try to calm herself down, moved into a hotel for a while, without any appearances of the rape. However, they did return. Stared her down one more time. She went back to sleep, woke up the next day, and she lost it. So yeah, guys, that was my reading of some creepypastas. One was one I made up, and another was a well-known one. So guys, I want to say thanks for watching, and yeah, if you want me to read some, if you have any stories you would like me to read, let me know in the comments. So thank you, and